High-Low-Cast. The High-Low-Cast.
In the great hall of the Justice League, there are assembled the world's greatest heroes, created from the cosmic legends of the universe.
Scott McDermott.
I was bit by a black widow in Hamul in my sleep.
Harrison Perkins.
Every muscle in my body is clenching right now.
And
Scott Clark.
You know, I would like to get to know a tarantula.
their mission to fight injustice, to right that which is wrong, and to serve all mankind.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Super Friends.
Good morning, Vietnam!
We'll do it live. No, we'll do it live.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
You ever seen a UFO in these parts?
Well, gentlemen.
Good morning, man. How are you?
Oh, good morning.
Here we are.
We just got here.
The last two were a little short, so I had to try to keep you on your toes.
As they say, right, the weather is here and I wish you were beautiful.
I've never heard that. Who says that?
They say that?
Who are they?
I think I picked that up off of a Jimmy Buffett t-shirt at Margaritaville. I didn't buy the t-shirt.
Well, then they must say it.
And
All right. Well, it might be something that the redoubtable Jimmy Buffett used to say. It might be something that parrot heads say. Are you a parrot head?
I appreciate him.
Okay.
Some of his stuff is not to my taste, but
Okay.
I enjoy it.
Yeah. He turned one really big song into a whole billion-dollar enterprise. So for a guy who cut his foot on a pop top, he made a lot of money out of that. He's very creative. He was not a hugely successful musician, but those songs of that whole genre and shtick, as they say in the business, worked out really well for him.
You got to have something to listen to at the beach, right?
Yeah. Well, that's right. He became the voice of the beach in some ways. I remember that song was huge when I was in high school. It was on the radio constantly. And it was a big hit. Even in Nebraska, it was a big hit. On the radio, in the office at the pool where I worked.
Oh, right. So, yeah, my dad and I went to Orlando once, and he wanted to, I mean, I was happy to go, but he really wanted to spend some time in the gift shop, which is interesting because my dad never wants to go to any gift shop, but this one
Interesting.
was the thing. And so we did. And all good things come out of Orlando, right?
Yeah. Disney World. And
yeah. But I've appreciated that line, sort of like, let you say something.
Okay.
Doesn't it? Weather's here.
God.
I wish you were beautiful. Have a good day.
Scott, can you place this?
You ever seen a UFO in these parts? That would be the second episode of X-Files.
Okay. I wasn't asking for that kind of precision.
He was at the diner, and yeah, I think it's the second episode ever.
I thought the second one was the Edward Toombs with the he turned into goo to go through the vent.
No, that wasn't second.
Well, then it was the
No, that wasn't.
ghost alien in space. That was a weird one.
Nope, that was like the 8th episode.
Oh. Okay, I'm sure you're right.
Wow, that's amazing.
Right.
And then do you know this one?
Well, gentlemen.
Yes, that's Godfather 3, unfortunately.
No, it's not. It's not. It's Al Pacino and
Scent of a Woman.
Yes, that's from Scent of a Woman. I just stumbled across that.
That was late Pacino, and he sounded insane. So the first thing I thought of was Godfather 3.
I just thought that he delivered that line.
Well, gentlemen.
I love that. I love that delivery. I mean, that, he just takes over the courtroom at that point. So I just thought that was impressive. Anyway.
Yeah, it was the second episode of X-Files.
Okay. Very good.
He was in the diner, and he needed some info about where to go to find those flying saucers.
Okay. All right.
Don't test
you. Yeah, exactly.
I'm only good at two things.
X-Files
and mafia movies.
And what?
Or anyone with mafia actors.
Oh, okay. Well, I've been encouraging the students, I just say, well, if you want to understand the Greco-Roman world, and it helps also, to understand in some ways ancient Near Eastern culture, but the Greco-Roman world and the medieval church, you have to understand syndical relations and syndical culture.
Oh yes, the syndicate.
That's right.
That was the bad guy in Mission Impossible: Rogue Nation, the Syndicate.
Oh, okay. All right. So
I just felt like I had to contribute something.
when I was an undergraduate, I had a course in Latin American politics, and the thesis of the course was that syndical relations are of the essence of Latin American politics. And he argued that the reason that Americans struggle to understand that is that we don't understand the importance of basically hierarchical syndical relations, the paterfamilias. And part of that I get from Steve Baugh too, the importance of the paterfamilias. And Baptists need to understand that too, by the way. If they understood that, then they would get the connection between infant circumcision and infant baptism, the paterfamilias principle. Abraham was a paterfamilias. All those 318 people, they were all part of his household. Right? They practiced household circumcision and household, and Acts 16, household baptism. Lydia was the mater familias, I guess, in that case.
Well, she was. Her husband was dead.
Yeah, that's what I say. All right. Well, how are you guys? We're recording on a Monday, by the way. The listener might want to know that.
Yeah, we're actually recording into the future of the episode airing. We're recording 2 days ahead of time.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of that.
Well, the episode comes out on Saturday, but we're recording it 2 days after. Normally, we record it 4 days ahead of time, but we're recording it 2 days ahead of time.
Okay. Yeah.
So we are in the future.
Yes.
We'll let ourselves know on the episode what happened.
You ever seen a UFO in these parts?
Yes. Well, we just celebrated the second week of Pascha, and things are going quite well.
You just celebrated the second week of Pascha. Okay. And how is that going?
Well, everybody's sick at my church, and it's because of all the Easter lilies that we have to have in our sanctuary. And my wife thought of a really good. The pollen just gets to everybody. It's a church full of sick people. Allergies.
Okay, so they're not permanently ill or anything. It's just a allergic reaction to the Easter lilies.
So my wife thought of a really good idea for next year, because Easter lilies have been the tradition here for a long time. Here's the idea. I absolutely love it. She's a genius. She said, from now on, we should do Pascha hostas.
Pascha pastas.
Do you know what a hosta is?
Pascha hosta. I don't. What's a hosta? Is that a flower?
Hosta is a type of plant here in the Midwest, and it's like everybody's favorite plant that they have around their house.
Okay.
If you don't know what a hosta is, then you're not going to like it. But here in Michigan, they love their hostas.
Okay.
So, well, I mean, it's all about the audience, I guess. I expect a certain level of intelligence from those who I say things to. I guess I just.
Well, when it comes to plants,
I'll keep those things to myself from now on.
when it comes to plants, I'm not. As we are recording, the Heidelfrau is out of town, and so she had to remind me to water the plants, and I really didn't even know how to do that. Okay.
It's just kind of a leaf thing.
They have flowers,
but these things have to be done in a certain way. I know that, and I wasn't sure how to do it or what. But I think we saved the plants. Okay, I see it now. I've got it on my screen here.
Oh, there's one with a flower. Oh, it's a bird. Yeah, that's okay.
Oh, those are nice. Yeah, I think we might have one of those somewhere. It looks vaguely familiar.
I don't like things that have ground cover, at least for my yard, because that's just a place where things can hide.
Oh, yeah, we need ground cover here. That's important.
There's nothing to hide here. There's no snakes.
That's not true. But spiders or poison ivy?
Oh.
I don't want any of it.
Yeah, but
I mean, I didn't say you couldn't have it in your yard. I just said I didn't want it.
Is poison ivy?
No, not for the yard, for the church.
Is it a particular problem, poison ivy, where you are?
Yeah. And I'm super allergic to it. Like, it's why I don't go outside.
That's not why you don't go outside. You don't go outside because you're a bookish nerd who likes to sit indoors. But you work in your yard. That's not true.
I do. And most of that yard work was to make it into a place where poison ivy wouldn't grow.
Okay.
Success.
Success.
Genuinely, like my aversion for the outdoors has some pretty deep roots in if I get poison. Like I am at the point where if you offered me the option, you can get poison ivy again, or I am genuinely at the point where if you offered me the option, you can get poison ivy.
Success. He's getting mad.
Go on. If you offered me the option,
I'm at the point where if you offered me the option, you can get poison ivy again, or we're gonna shoot you like in the leg, non-lethal. Like, yeah, let's go with that.
you've never been shot though.
I haven't,
So
but I'm saying I would test that out.
No, you wouldn't want. Trust me, you would not want that. That would not.
You
be
don't know
good.
how bad I get poison ivy.
So okay, you know what it looks like though.
I do, but it's still like
Okay, so
get
if you know what it looks like, you're not going to come into contact with it. It's if you can't see it, it's not touching you. It has to touch
that's
you.
not true. If you step into like a patch of leaves and it's in there, it can get you.
Well, if do you go around without shoes and socks and trousers?
No.
Okay, well, if your skin is covered, you're not going to get poison ivy. It has to come into contact with your skin.
Well, yeah, but then it can get on your shirt.
If Harrison looks at it,
Yeah, I mean, it is
It
almost
gets
like I might get it because we talked about it.
look, his neck and face are starting to turn red.
Okay, that's interesting. So I mean, I understand you're communicating that you're hypersensitive to poison ivy.
Yeah.
I've been around poison ivy many times and I've never had any difficulty. I mean, I don't touch it, but if you don't touch it, it won't. I mean, you know what's in your yard, right? I mean,
Yeah, but it can still like pop up. And if it's hiding like underneath stuff,
okay,
I mean,
all right,
that's
yeah.
part of my yard where I can't go. And like, you got to do
Okay.
yard work. Like, you got to keep everything in.
sure. Well,
Anyway.
you're in Michigan. That's kind of a law, right? You have to do yard work or you'd be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
With your neighbors and whatnot. So, all right. Scott, how are you?
I am well. Thank you for asking. Like I said, it's the second week of Pascha,
Yeah, you seem distracted.
which I introduced. Well, I was looking at poison ivy and poison sumac, trying to figure out which one I got that one time.
And
I shook it off though. Whatever I got, my dog escaped, and I chased my dog through a field and through a few people's backyards, and I got something on my legs. And by the time I got done chasing him, and I just said, "Forget it. If he's gone, he's gone." So I started walking back home. This is like midnight. by
oh
the way.
no.
And then he just runs up right next to me. He's like, "Hey."
Yeah.
So we went home, and I realized I had something all over my legs, and it was causing some very serious
Oh
itching.
no.
And I remembered running through something that got me. It was the
Oh
leaves.
no.
And then I washed my legs, and afterwards it was fine. Like, it went away within an hour. So whatever I got, I shook it off.
Okay.
But besides that, I'm just really enjoying the Paschal season. It's really lovely. We're doing a study in the Gospel according to John, all the different resurrection appearances of the Lord Jesus. And we did Mary Magdalene in the garden tomb.
Okay.
At the garden tomb on Lord's Day 15. And it was great.
For how many weeks?
40 days until he
Okay,
ascends.
so you're observing the Paschal season for 40 days. All right, that's what I'm just checking to see if you're going to go the whole 40 days.
Always.
Okay.
Yeah, I layer them on top of the Lord's days.
All right. For some guys, well, you know, as soon as Easter Sunday is passed or Paschal Sunday is passed, then the church is done, right? There's no.
I don't like
Okay.
that.
All right.
Because then you're just picking and choosing the days you want
Yeah.
rather than observing the entire. The whole point of it is he raised from the dead. He taught and preached for another 40 days. He ascended into heaven. He sat down at the right hand.
Yeah.
10 days later, he poured out the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
So there's a story. It's called the gospel.
Well, that's true.
And if you cut out pieces of it, it's not going to make any sense.
Okay.
That's the only reason why I'm okay with certain days being observed on top of or along with the Lord's Day, is because it's telling the story
Yeah.
of the redemptive work of Christ.
Yeah, I understand. All right.
And we confess it all in the creeds.
Yeah. All right. That's great. Are you guys ready to
No.
this is becoming a pattern. All right.
We always ask hard questions.
Well, we'll see what's in the What's in the coffer this time? All right.
It's never easy.
Okay, stand by.
Call or text now 760-618-1563. Hi, this is the voice. It's been a long winter. Spring is here, and it's time to get out of the coffer and back in touch with nature. It's great to hear the stream flowing, the birds, and even the bees. I guess the bee crisis is past. We have a lot of them this spring. Huh? Pollen is back too, but that's okay. As you get out and about, don't forget to take the Heidelcast with you wherever you go. Download our free Heidel app from the App Store or Google Play. Creation declares the glory of God. The Heidelberg Reformation Association is also devoted to the glory of God. We're dedicated to recovering the Reformed confession and to helping others discover it. Won't you help us help you? Use the donate button in the app or on the Heidel blog, or send a tax-deductible check to Heidelberg Reformation Association, 1637 East Valley Parkway, number 391, Escondido, California, 92027. Thanks for your prayers and support, and have a wonderful spring. Ladies and gentlemen, the Super Friends.
All right. Sounds like the voice maybe walked through some Easter lilies. I don't know if he walked through any sumac or we trust that he didn't, that he's not going through any sumac or what is it? What's the other thing you're not supposed to walk through?
Poison ivy.
Poison ivy, yeah. So we hope that's
or
the case.
cactus.
Or well, yes, that would be. Yeah, my father-in-law learned about cactus the hard way when he was out here some years ago. They went out to the desert and he came back with some needles in him.
There's probably a long
Yikes.
list of things you shouldn't walk through to be.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly. I wasn't there, so I don't
Cow
know exactly
pies.
what happened. Yeah, that's not that big a deal. So,
You're talking to a kid who grew up on a farm.
I mean, I didn't say it was the end of the world. I just like don't
supposed to
walk
eat 'em.
through it. Like if you're saying I'm making the decision to go step in doo doo, then I'm questioning
Yes.
your judgment.
That's right. If you could avoid it, it's best avoided. But
Harrison, I'm starting to realize you may live in the most perfect place for your aversion to outdoor things. Based on where you live, you're set. You don't even need to go outside, really.
this is from Brendan, who writes to the Heidelcast. He doesn't mention you guys, but he doesn't mention
I knew
me
that was
either.
coming.
But he doesn't mention me, so that's... No, he does. I take that back. Hello, Dr. Clark. I thank you for all the work you've done that has helped me greatly. I'm also contacting you because I'm curious about a few things. I recently started going to a Reformed church, and he says where it is, in the eastern United States, and I've been growing in my faith immensely. But I had a few questions that it seems not a lot of Reformed folk, or even most Christians nowadays, think about. I've been reading on a particular discussion board about different things that he's been thinking about. And so he's got three questions. One, are theaters/movies sinful? I've heard people, I don't think he's heard them, but he's heard about people, or he's heard that people such as Spurgeon, Whitfield, and others unanimously said, yes, that it wouldn't be movies in those cases. Those would be theaters were sinful, which makes me wonder why such a change. Most pastors and theologians nowadays would be in the middle on the issue and not staunchly against it. Have we become lax in our convictions, or what is the case? And then he's got two other questions. The second is about card playing, and the third is about entertainment generally. He says that reading this sort of stuff is making him a little anxious, and it's raising questions. And he's wondering whether believers are sufficiently serious today. And then he asks about dancing, or were they just against promiscuous dancing? And so he's looking for some help on some of these issues. So, all right, What do you think?
I think he asked you.
Yeah, he doesn't want our input.
Yeah, okay, but I'm asking you.
He was pretty clear.
But I'm asking you. So I'm asking you for some help. What do you guys think? I have opinions. So he's reading a particular discussion list on which I have in the distant past participated. I haven't participated for a long time. I've been a little bit too occupied with other things. And this is a place.
The internet is not a peaceful, happy place.
The discussion board?
Well,
Yeah.
that too, just the internet in general, but yeah.
Yeah.
Except the Heidel blog.
Well, that's right. The Heidel blog is a good place to go. It's very edifying. And so if you want to comment, we welcome your comments and we have good discussions. Although it's funny, with the rise of social media and all of that, the number of comments has declined precipitously every year.
They're getting it out of their system before they come to the Heidel
Well,
blog.
basically.
I have noticed that as well. You used to get a lot of feedback, a lot of discussions going on in the old school Heidel blog, but that was prior to X,
Twitter,
all that kind of stuff, where people could say more things.
Yeah. And without any sort of regulation, generally.
Well, or responses.
Yeah.
They can just say things.
Yeah.
You're going to get a response in the Heidel blog.
Yeah. You might, yeah. Although the way we have a security system now, and I don't, because of the way things are now, I don't always see the comments right away, and I need to be more zealous about the checking to make sure there aren't comments sitting in the queue. So I apologize. If you commented and wondered what happened to my comment, how come it didn't appear right away? That's my fault. I have to manually go. I used to be able to do it from my phone. I guess I could, but it used to be a lot easier than it is now. Okay, so this is a young man who is new to the Reformed faith, and he's done what a lot of young men and people new to the Reformed faith do. He's gone to a particular discussion list where they talk about all kinds of things, and he's been directed to read Puritan/English Reformed, and now these questions are coming up. What about theaters and film? By way of background, the theater in the 16th and 17th century it would be too much to say unregulated, but it could be bawdy. And so there were
lascivious.
There were real concerns among the Reformed about whether Christians should attend the theater. But that being said, so we're talking about plays today, so as distinct from film or movies or cinema. Theodore Beza, who's a humanist and a great Reformed theologian, he wrote a play. So it's not the case that all Reformed people shunned all forms of theater, but there were bawdy plays, plays that were somewhat lascivious for the time. And so there were concerns about attending the theater, but it's not the case that all Reformed were absolutely opposed to all forms of theater.
James Usher closed all the theaters in Dublin.
Oh, interesting.
And he said one of his great temptations was playing cards.
Ah, okay. Well, we'll come back to the card playing. So I guess we want to maybe distinguish between, that sort of theater, which is lascivious, and that which is not. So
there are some theaters out there that are sinful to attend. We can say that.
Oh yeah. I mean, there are plays that there are probably plays that Christians might not want to attend or shouldn't attend.
And men shouldn't go to musicals. I mean, let's just get that out there.
I was suggesting something even further than plays. There are certain types of venues.
You're talking about porneia, which I think it was more frequent when they talked about theaters in the 17th, 18th, 19th century. They're dealing with things more on that side of the theater. They're not just saying no entertainment at all, period.
And weren't they doing a lot of this on Sundays too?
Well, that's right. There was a challenge as to the Lord's Day, that these things could be a distraction on the Lord's Day, and there were different attitudes about what could or should be done on the Lord's Day. James the 1st / the 6th published. I've always seen it referred to as the Book of Sports, but I guess it's the. Am I right in thinking it was actually called the Declaration of Sports?
I think it's called by both.
This.
I mean, I think it was a declaration, but I think
the Book of Sports was a declaration issued
go.
by King James I in 1618, listing permissible Sunday and holy day recreations in England.
And what word does it say? What some of those were?
Yes, it does.
Would you inform us about that?
Yeah, could you say what they were?
Dancing,
Yes.
archery, leaping,
Yeah.
vaulting,
Yeah.
women carrying rushes to church for decoration.
That is one of my favorite games.
May games, wits and ales, Morris dances, and setting up maypoles. Things you cannot do: bear and bull baiting, theatrical performances, and bowling for the lower classes. But the things that you can do, you first have to go to divine service in order to participate in the recreation.
Okay.
So if you go to church, you're okay to be recreational, as long as it's not bear baiting.
Yeah. What is bear baiting?
It's a good way
It's
to
when
die.
you bait a bear.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I understand it involves bears, and is this people poking at bears or something? Or I genuinely don't know what it is. I've never looked it up. So, but I watch bear videos on Instagram, but I don't think that constitutes bear baiting.
The practice of placing
Blood
food
sport.
such as pastries, grease, or dog food to attract black bears for hunting. That seems like a modern version.
That's now. It was a popular Tudor blood sport where a chained bear was attacked by dogs for public entertainment.
Oh, wow.
So that's brutal.
Yeah, that's brutal. So that's
I'm glad they outlawed it, but only on the Lord's Day.
yeah. So that's awful. Anyway, yeah. So there were
How'd they catch the bear in the first place?
By baiting him. the way that you described it.
yeah. So you trap the bear using food and then torture him. So that's terrible.
I hate
Cruelty. Yeah.
Stupid tutors.
Especially now that I see people, rescuing cubs and things, and they all look like a Disney character.
Teddy bears?
Yeah, they all look like teddy bears. They do. Bear cubs look.
They really do.
It's amazing. So,
Everything looks so gentle and cute when it's a pup.
well, that's right.
Except for snakes. They don't look.
No, they don't
Mosquitoes,
Those things are disgusting.
maggots are
Yeah.
not cute.
No, they don't get better looking
Up. I'm talking more canids. Canids and bear
mammals.
things.
Yeah.
Mammalia.
So are theaters sinful?
Yeah. I don't think we can say that theaters are sinful in themselves. At least,
It's all about the content.
Yeah, because it's kind of like that's a room with seats in it.
so, but I mean, people,
Yeah.
reciting lines, memorized lines and acting out scenes and things. I don't believe that that's intrinsically sinful.
Only because we know that it's an attempt to convey a story and not trying to portray truth. It's not a deception because you know they're acting.
Yeah.
Well, that's super deep into it. I think it's really
that's part
just
of
about
it.
the
Is
content.
acting
Really?
is acting a lie?
Yeah.
And I'd say no, unless
Not if we're all in
you're
on it.
right. Exactly.
I mean, you can never tell a story then, right? If you told a story that wasn't true, but you told it for entertainment and everybody knew the convention that this is not a true story. This is for entertainment.
Once upon a time.
Yeah, exactly.
He's lying.
Exactly. So you want to distinguish intent and genre and setting and all of those kinds of things. And I think we can address the general question that he asked about entertainment. There's nothing wrong with wholesome entertainment. It's getting maybe harder, it might be true, to find wholesome entertainment, but
Yeah, you might struggle to discern a movie that is suitable to go see,
yeah.
but
And you can always get up and leave.
there's that.
Well, yeah, but I don't go to the movies now just because in part because it's so expensive.
Yeah.
And I just rather stay home. If I'm going to watch a film, I'll watch it at home. So that gets to the other question that he asked. If I can finish the story about Beza, I've never seen the title Englished. It was Abraham Sacrificant, and I've translated it Abraham the Sacrificer, and so it's about Abraham and Isaac. And that play was, as they say, put on the boards, I think is the expression. It was put on, performed in London, and there was, I think, some controversy over it. So Beza did write a play, and it was performed. You can find the text of it. I have it on my shelf, and I'm sure you can find it online. Abraham Sacrificant is the title. Anyway, I think there's a place for Christians to engage high culture or art, including theater and film. I think we ought to study these things and we ought to engage
and
them.
do more of it.
I don't think we ought to withdraw from it.
And be good at it.
Yeah, I think it raises some difficult questions. Should a Christian film reviewer see a film that he or she would not otherwise see so that they can talk about it? I remember discussing this sort of thing in our ethics course when I was a seminary student, and there was some division of opinion about that. But, in life, we do have to see sometimes ugly things. Police officers have to see some terrible things that they would not otherwise see were they not police officers. And they just have to deal with it. So I don't know. I think that people could, justifiably come down in different places on that. But I would be uncomfortable saying, for example, Christians can't review films.
I agree with it. Yeah, in a blanket sense, right?
Yeah. How do you know what's in a film if you haven't seen it?
I think it's all about content, and you can make a prudent decision based on the content. Now, thankfully, they give you ratings. The ratings may be a little bit off, but if you see a rated R movie, you have to guess there's going to be some pretty strong language in there, and yet maybe possibly nudity. And so you need to exercise your wisdom.
They usually even tell you that now alongside the rating.
Yeah, they tell you the things that are in it that caused the rated R rating.
Yeah.
Adults need to make wise decisions. Christian adults need to make wise decisions, but especially when it comes to making decisions what your children are going to watch. Can I just read Westminster Larger 139 quickly?
Please.
What are the sins forbidden in the seventh commandment? This is the commandment against adultery. A huge list of things, obviously. And on the sixth or seventh line, we read lascivious songs, books, pictures, dancing, stage plays, and all other provocations to or acts of uncleanness. So in other words, it's really about content.
Yeah, even when there's a qualifier even attached to stage plays, isn't there?
Well, lascivious is the...
Yeah. So,
I thought that's where the term skeevy came from.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
I don't know that. Yeah, so stage plays are explicitly listed there.
Yes.
But they're qualified.
Yeah, with a word.
Yeah. So things that are lascivious, and something that's lascivious is something that is intended to be sexually provocative. It has what the courts have sometimes described as prurient content.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, but you beat me.
So those are the kinds of things that you want to think about. So we want to be careful about impinging on Christian liberty, but there are limits to the exercise of Christian liberty. So to the question as it's presented, are theaters/movies sinful? No, not per se.
But any provocation to an act of uncleanness is.
Yeah.
Yeah, guard your heart.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good word. And I think we do have to be more careful than we are now, probably, about what goes in. Now, Jesus said it's not what goes into a man that defiles, it's what comes out of him. So there are good reasons to be careful about what we take into our minds and hearts, right, through our eyes. Obviously, pornography is out. That is terribly corrupting, and the way that, especially now, the way that it's delivered is addicting. And this is a problem that all pastors know, that the young men, particularly, but females too, are struggling with this. We are awash in it. It's far too readily available. So obviously, all of that stuff transgresses any boundary that anybody could set.
This is the Heidelcast.
Secondly, Brendan asks about card playing. He says, some say card playing is a form of going against God's providence. And then he says he doesn't know how people got there, but is this a biblical way of thinking or speaking?
Because it's a game of chance. That is why they were thought that.
Yes.
It's not skill as such. Just to accomplish something, it's the quote unquote luck of the draw, literally.
Yeah.
And you end up with a set of cards and you're hoping it wins.
Wouldn't we distinguish between playing cards where we're gambling and playing cards where we aren't gambling.
Yeah, I was just explaining how they got there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the rationale. And
yes, and toying with providence is a real thing, right? There are ways of toying with providence that make it sort of making fun of or making providence ridiculous or treating providence without due regard.
yeah.
Right.
I don't know. Can I read something?
I don't know. Can you? As long as it's not the word lascivious, I think we're good.
God, the creator of all things, doth uphold, direct, dispose, and govern all creatures, actions, and things, from the greatest even to the least, by his most wise and holy providence, according to his infallible foreknowledge and the free and immutable counsel of his own will, to the praise of the glory of his wisdom, power, justice, goodness, and mercy. I don't know, all things, all actions, all creatures.
Yeah.
It seems like playing cards isn't really going against. I mean, this is just quick reading, quick thinking, which I'm not good at. So it doesn't seem like you can really go against God's providence.
Well, that's right.
Simply by having a hand dealt to you.
Whatever happens within the providence of God. So
Yeah.
that's not in question. The question is how people are regarding providence, not whether. So if you're sitting at the table with family and friends, and
I have neither, by the way. So, but I'm imagining it.
playing a board game or something, is that sinful to play? Over the holidays, we were at the table together, and we played some board games, which we hadn't done for a long time. And that was fun. And it didn't seem to me that we were making a mockery of providence by doing that.
How could it be a mockery of God's providence? Can you help me
Yeah,
understand?
because it's got dice.
Yes.
The devil's blocks.
Well, what
I
if
don't
you're
even
in
know
a
if anyone's
sport?
ever
You're playing
called
a
it that.
sport and you toss the thing up in the air, heads or tails.
Yep.
Whatever it lands on
Sin.
is that testing God's providence?
Well, that was the concern that some people had. So, right. I mean, there have been people who've, in fact, Calvin comments on this relative to electing officers because they cast lots, right, to see who would replace Judas. And so he discusses that. I don't remember if it was in the Institutes or in his commentary on Acts, but I know that he discussed that. And he defended the propriety of that, but he did have to discuss that issue because it was something about which people were concerned. So by the time this episode airs, we will have, not I, but we, the Heidelberg Reformation Association, will have published 2 videos on gambling.
What?
Yes, and in these videos, I came out very strongly in favor of the
Gambling.
teaching of the of the teaching of the Westminster.
New merch, the Heidel dice.
The Heidel cards. The Heidel deck.
Yeah, no Heidel playing cards or any of that. But I did come out in favor of the teaching of 142 or Westminster Larger Catechism. I think it is 142, if memory serves. Scott can check me on that. And I came out in favor of the traditional Reformed view of gambling. And by the time this episode airs, we will have published several quotations from various sources. When I was searching for what Christians have said about gambling and gaming, it's another way to look at for this. I found Luther, interestingly, speaking out about gaming quite forcefully, and that was interesting.
Not just gaming, though, wasteful.
Yeah, wasteful gaming. And so that's the question: is when is gaming not wasteful? And
When you're losing.
So I think if you're going to the casino, for example, that would be wasteful gaming because the house is against you. So again, we don't want to bind. Just to wrap up the section on cards and gambling. So gambling is highly problematic. There's a difference, I argued in the videos, between making a productive investment and wagering, gaming, gambling. And so the reason I did the videos is because it's becoming clear that gambling culture is sweeping across the country. The casinos are spreading across the country. And more importantly, I think the apps are in, people are downloading gambling apps to their phones, and young people and young men in particular, who are attracted to risk, I think just by nature of being young men, are, becoming addicted to gambling through these apps.
It's kind of wild. There's not even the allure of a nice environment and, flashy setting and any of that. It's just, I'm going to scroll and throw away my money.
Well, where I really became acutely aware of it is listening to sports podcasts that have become increasingly dominated by talk of gambling. And the odds for every contest, every game are given, and they have the gambling guru on the show, and the ads are increasingly about gambling. And then the interesting thing is, at the end of these ads, there's the long disclaimer about what to do when you become addicted. So states are promoting gambling as a way of generating revenue, and then they have to spend a substantial portion of their revenue helping to get people unaddicted, sending them to treatment. And then, states where you can do it and can't do it and so forth. And if you get addicted, call 1-800 whatever.
I'm very troubled that most of the advertisements I see are for gambling and medications.
Yeah.
Those are the only.
Yeah, basically, right?
It just switches from one to the next.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
And it's always psoriasis, and it's always online gambling apps.
Yeah. You want to be very cautious about that, but playing board games and things like that, and where you're not gambling, that would be a different thing. Okay. Third, generally about entertainment. He says, I heard A.W. Tozer say something along the lines of, the more entertainment we seem to have, the less of God in us we seem to need.
Maybe he read that.
Yeah. So I suspect that's right.
Unless Tozer went on a speaking tour recently.
No, I don't think so. The question, I think, is how do we balance the proportion of entertainment we consume? I guess that's what we do with entertainment. We consume it to the rest of our lives. Who wrote the book Amusing Ourselves to Death? Is that Neil Postman? Yeah. So entertainment is probably a much bigger, in some ways, depending on how we're defining it, passive entertainment is a much bigger part of our lives than it once was. And that goes back to, well, we could say radio in some ways, with the invention of radio and then the invention of television. And now, obviously, we all have essentially portable multimedia complexes in our telephones, our mobile phones, our phones. Right. That's where I watch the news
phones
now. Right. I watch the news on my phone. I watch television shows sometimes on my phone. So it's always with us. Cops are pulling people over who are watching their phones. They're watching movies on their phones while they're driving. That's a thing. Cops are finding people with, their phones on a stand or whatever in their cars, and the driver is surprised. What, you mean I can't watch YouTube while I'm driving? No, you're really not supposed to do that. That's not safe.
You can,
but you may not.
But you may not.
That's right. It's physically possible, but it's illegal and it's dangerous.
Kind of physically possible till you kill somebody.
Yes. Anyway, it's worth considering the role that entertainment plays in our lives and how much time it takes up, and whether it's divorcing us from other people. Is it cutting us off from family and friends and the communion of the saints? There's a general cultural concern, I think, that's quite legitimate about isolation and, getting out of our houses and, actually spending time with people now.
Because there's something in the lines of this question, but like, as soon as you come to enjoy anything, it seems like it enters into the question, like entertainment. Like, I mean, to me, this almost strikes as a question of like, am I allowed to enjoy things?
And yes, you certainly are.
Because like, I enjoy reading theology books. Almost
nerd.
Well, yeah, that's fine.
Just so everyone knows, I love Harrison Perkins. So
yeah,
I love Scott McDermott.
Well, you got low standards.
All right. So Harrison, I agree entirely with what you were saying about entertainment. I mean, there's nothing wrong with a diversion. There's nothing wrong with enjoying wholesome entertainment. So we want to be careful again about infringing or impinging on Christian liberty. But as to the anxiety that is created by reading some of the older literature on these things, I would say, it's good to consider these things, but it's not good to become obsessed about them, right?
So hopefully the extra context that we've tried to fill in on these different categories he's brought in front of us shows that most of the concerns were not about the things that are our first connotations with these things, with theaters and movies. Well, we should avoid things that promote ungodliness, and there's a fair amount of that, today. I might be tighter than some other people. I mean, I'm not trying to be aggressive, but I do try to find out what's in a movie before I see it, and if there's nudity or sexual content, that kind of thing, I don't want to watch it. I'm not going to watch it. I just don't think it is part of what I should see. Card playing, so there's the morality component. Card playing, it's the gambling component. Entertainment, it's the waste of time, and not everything that is enjoyable and restful is a waste of time. If we become prone to idleness, or ineffective and inefficient in our work because we're sucked into something and addicted, but we have to structure our time.
I think that's a really important point. Things that lead to dissoluteness, that's a real thing. And that's in some ways, that's what's happening in our time, is that, and it's not necessarily, I don't think it's probably film or theater or maybe cards. That's maybe another thing. I don't know. But I think the internet is maybe one of the chief ways of, becoming dissolute.
And particularly the internet on our phone.
That's right. The internet on your phone and social media and, particularly I would blame Meta. I don't know that. I mean, Twitter, I think or X, that can be a time hole. I think that can be. But what I find, and I like to, for example, I like to watch animal videos on Instagram. Don't follow me on Instagram. All I do is I don't publish anything. There's no reason to follow me. I don't say anything. All I do, I like to watch animal videos. But these companies, they have an algorithm and they figure out what you like and they feed you more of what you like. And, 10 minutes becomes 20 minutes, 20 minutes becomes 40, and 40 becomes 90. And time can really get away from you while you're, and they do that intentionally. They're very, very skilled at getting you to spend time because that's what they do. That's their reason for being, is to get you to look at things, to watch them, and just to scroll and scroll and scroll and keep watching, because that's what they're selling to advertisers, is time watching.
Christians should read Jonathan Haidt, The Anxious Generation.
Very good. Say that again.
Jonathan Haidt. He's not a Christian.
Correct.
He is not critical of Christianity. And in fact, he says some commendatory things about it. That's not to say he's any closer to the kingdom or anything like that. It's just the content will not be offensive when it touches upon our faith in this book. But The Anxious Generation.
Yes.
And it is about exposure to technology and particularly social media for adolescents. And whether you are an adolescent or a parent of an adolescent, I'd say, even if you're not, still read it.
Yeah.
Because these things, I think, touch upon all of us, even though I'm supposedly outside the window that would be most deeply affected by this. I mean, one, I do need to think about raising children and how to do that effectively for their benefit. But I see even descriptions that do pertain to me and things that we need to watch out for. And so I'd highly recommend
this is
that book.
This is Jonathan Haidt, Hidt. Jonathan Haidt, the title is The Anxious Generation. And I'm looking at the website for the book. And he says in the summer of 2022, I was working on a book project, and I think that eventually became The Anxious Generation, which came out in 2024.
There's a review on the Heidel blog.
And there's a review on the Heidel blog. And who wrote that review?
I did.
Harrison Birkin. So, yeah, you could find that. You say, how can I find that review? It's at heidelblog.net/reviews, heidelblog.net/reviews. And you'll find that review by Dr. Harrison Perkins. And on the page for the book, Haidt notes the dramatic rise of people, U.S. undergraduates, right? So college students diagnosed with mental illness and anxiety, he says, has increased 134% since 2010. Well, what happened in 2010? Well, that's where people began using social media in large numbers. Depression, he says, is up 106%. Reported depression is up 106% since 2010. ADHD diagnoses are up 72% since 2010. Bipolar diagnoses are up 57%. Anorexia is up 100% since 2010. Substance abuse or addiction up, 33%. Even schizophrenia diagnoses are up 67% since 2010. So are all of these directly related to social media? Perhaps not, but some of them are. Many of them are directly correlated to the use of social media.
And there's probably a relation.
Yeah.
I mean, we can say that, like, is it I mean, even in the cases where it's like, I don't want to say social media is the direct cause of every single instance of all those things. That's not the point. But is it a major factor in why a lot of those things are happening for a lot of people? I spent a day and a half off of, I've gotten rid of Facebook because it was one more distraction. I still have an X account. I'm toying with getting rid of it. I spent a day and a half off of it last week. Amazing.
Yeah, we probably need a lot of us to take a social media sabbatical. Just get away, as they say, touch grass, reconnect with the objective world apart from social media. And I think one of the things that Haidt doesn't list there, but is assurance of salvation, and assurance of faith. I think concern about assurance of salvation and assurance of faith. So one, am I saved? And two, do I really believe? Do I have faith? I think these questions are exacerbated. Doubts and fears are exacerbated by reading stuff online. And so there are discussion lists that I would encourage people not to attend, not to use.
And honestly, I'd almost say, look, start a book group.
Yeah.
Don't do any of it online, because then it's, they may be your friends, and that's fine. I'm not criticizing that, but just like, why not just start a group with people you know and talk about it there? It humanizes the discussion. It becomes a different thing altogether. And to his closing questions, like, are we just not serious? I don't think that's the case. I think we're not careful.
Yeah.
We bounce to one extreme or the other. Why isn't it okay for me to watch the worst movies as a Christian and just think they're fun? It's just a movie. Well, that is not the right kind of input. Some of it will, even if it's not blatantly immoral, I think another category here is, but is it destructive? Like, does it leave you feeling depressed? There's a lot of nihilism in movies today. Yeah. I don't like them anymore.
Yeah.
Because most of them are about, there are exceptions, but there's a lot of them that are just about, it's meaningless. That's a lot of the payoff.
That's right. I listened to a popular film-related podcast, and they've more or less given up on reviewing new films. They don't really do it anymore. And two of the three guys are fairly devout Roman Catholics, not to say uber pious, but they do attend mass and they talk about their faith some, particularly
around practicing.
Yeah. And the other one makes no profession of faith at all, but they have, I don't say they've given up films altogether, but they are not talking a lot about contemporary films on this podcast anymore because films, just particularly since COVID, aren't very good, and B, there aren't very many of them, and they're dark and depressing.
Even the ones that have a positive ending,
Yeah,
are almost empty in that. Like they don't inspire hope.
No, they're hollow because the world that is depicted in the film is a world in which there is no God, there's no heaven, there's no hell. It's just existentialist, and happy existentialism is still existentialism. There's
and
nothing there.
I know that there's another review that I did on the Heidel blog, and I know it's kind of silly. It was sort of meant to be humorous, and at the same time, I had a serious point when I reviewed the most recent James Bond film.
Yeah.
But I actually do think that, I mean, it's kind of humorous to have a rant about that kind of movie on a serious theological blog. At the same time, I really did have something that bothered me. Not just that I was disappointed in the movie, that they didn't pull off the movie I wanted, but it felt like a betrayal of moviegoers in the sense that it was entirely self-indulgent about the people trying to make it, and it was empty in its payoff.
Yeah.
I was so frustrated. And not that James Bond is ever meant to be an inspirational character,
No.
at least in one sense, but it is meant to make you, it at least traditionally has been, you leave the theater with a sense of that was thrilling.
Yeah.
Not with a sense of, well, everybody died and that's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, it's gotten darker and emptier. And so I think the point I was going to make earlier is that I think that time on social media and time on certain discussion lists, maybe a lot of them, some Discord groups that people are in, not all, but certain of them, has a tendency to facilitate anxiety about, one's salvation and one's faith, and particularly, people who are young. But, in this particular discussion list that this fellow mentions, I know it fairly well, as I say. And there are a lot of young people on there, a lot of young Christians on there, and frankly, a lot of people who don't know what they're talking about. And there's a lot of shared ignorance, and that isn't helpful.
Online forums in general are a place where brash but incompetent people go and can celebrate one another.
Yeah.
And that's why they use them. I mean, at least that's one thing that happens is I'll say something dumb and uninformed, but somebody else tells me I'm amazing for saying it. And then the cycle stirs them up into a frenzy about how amazing their wrong ideas are. And there's no check and balance. There's no release valve to stop that, because anybody who dissents from celebrating the ignorance is booted out or ostracized, and that's easy to do because it's not a real community of people there that are bound to other. It's just a thread where someone gets ejected or dejected enough that they finally decide to leave. And I'm very concerned about this actually for like at a ministerial capacity, not just for people about whom I do care and want their well-being, but also for people aspiring to be pastors.
Yeah.
And I am very concerned about a generation of men pursuing the ministry who have been involved in this sort of thing, and what their investment in an online persona, whether that be public or even in private forums, is like.
Yeah. So dopamine hits. What you're describing, somebody says something and then gets positive feedback in public. Whether what was said was true and edifying or not, you find a community of people who affirm that, and you get a dopamine hit from that. And that's how it works. And people become addicted to that. So when we used to read magazines or, journals and books and things, you would maybe get joy or not, depending on what you were reading, but you didn't get a dopamine hit necessarily by saying something and then having other people agree with you in public. And so you weren't at risk in that way for a kind of addiction to that rush that you get. And that's what social media is. Social media is a kind of emotional, psychological drug. So, I mean, in that respect, X and Elon Musk, he's a kind of a drug pusher, but so are the people at Meta. Those are all kinds of drugs in a way. And their primary function is to addict you and then sell the time that you spend on them to advertisers. And I know it's dressed up as if it were something else. And it's true that people are talking and exchanging information. I've seen a dramatic change in X/Twitter. I never see the people that I used to know or that I knew through Twitter. There was a little community. We used to talk. And that just doesn't exist anymore. I don't see those people. I'm not even sure they're online anymore. And so just, be careful. And especially I would encourage, Brendan, I would encourage you to stay off of that discussion list. It's not helping you. You have a church, you have a pastor, you have real life friends. Talk to those people and, look at our confessions and see what we say, and don't, spend time, talking to people who frankly don't know what they're talking about. That's not going to help you. It's not going to help you to grow and to make decisions about how you should spend your time. On assurance, the listener will be surprised to know that there is a resource page, heidelblog.net/assurance. heidelblog.net/assurance. Resources on the assurance of salvation. And there are some things there on the assurance of faith as well. So check that out. There are some good books that are listed there that will encourage you. Herman Bavinck's The Certainty of Faith is very much worth reading. There's a couple of different versions of that. Louis Berkhoff's The Assurance of Faith is also very much worth reading. I recommend Petrus Dathenou's The Pearl of Christian Comfort, which was reprinted by Reformation Heritage Books. Very happy about that as well. And there's some other really good books there. R.C. Sproul, Can I Be Sure That I'm Saved, would be one that's worth reading. And there are lots of articles and quotations and some Heidelcast resources. I did a whole series on the Heidelcast called The Comfort of the Covenant. heidelblog.net/comfort. And all I did was walk through Caspar Oliviana's Firm Foundation, which is out of print, but it's coming back. Lyle Bierman's doing a new edition of Firm Foundation, so you'll want to look for that. And I highly recommend that. That's one of the main things that Caspar was trying to do in that book, was to give people assurance of faith and assurance of salvation. And you get that by attending to the due use of ordinary means, hearing the gospel preached twice every Lord's Day, and if you're blessed to receive, Holy Communion on a regular basis, that's a great way to be encouraged in your faith, a thing the Lord uses. So those are the kinds of things that you want to be, paying attention to, and not necessarily to the other things that can contribute to anxiety and doubt and ultimately lack of assurance.
Amen.
Thanks for listening. Tune in tomorrow for more from the Heidelcast, brought to you by HeidelbergReformationAssociation.org. Don't forget, when the coin in the coffer clinks, the cost of bandwidth shrinks. Copyright Heidelberg Reformation Association. All rights reserved. This is a Heidel Media production.